Have you ever wondered how Google really decides what to show you when you search?
It's the big question, isn't it?
For so long, it just felt like this total black box, a question that has genuinely puzzled businesses, digital marketers, everyone, really, for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes really complex information and, tries to unpack it for you.
Giving you that shortcut to being properly informed.
Exactly. And this particular deep dive, it's aimed squarely at digital marketers, content creators, business owners, anyone looking to really get their head around Google's next chapter.
And today, we're not just scratching the surface, we are going deep. Diving into the newly revealed mechanics of Google's search algorithm, pulling back the curtain.
Yeah, it feels like the curtain's really been pulled back this time. Our sources are, well, pretty groundbreaking, unprecedented even.
Right. We're looking at the public disclosures from the big US v. Google antitrust case.
Plus that accidental internal document leak that happened early 2024.
Yeah, that was wild.
And these revelations, honestly, they've just flipped our understanding of how search works completely on its head.
So our mission today is basically to distill all this quite technical stuff
Yeah.
into clear, actionable insights so you can actually understand what's going on behind the scenes and, crucially, what it means for you.
And what it means for your online presence, your website, everything.
Exactly, because this isn't just about, simple SEO tactics anymore. It's way beyond that.
It feels like a fundamental shift.
It is a fundamental shift in how Google assesses information and, this is key, how it values websites and the people creating the content.
It's about understanding this new reality of Google search.
And for a lot of people, it's going to mean a profound reevaluation of, well, pretty much everything they thought they knew about Google.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's unpack this new reality that Google was, well, essentially forced to unveil.
Right. The Department of Justice antitrust case started back in 2020.
Feels like ages ago now.
Doesn't it? But it inadvertently became this, crucible for technical disclosure.
Because Google's whole defense was, hey, we're just better. Our success is due to superior quality.
Right. And to prove that superior quality, they had no choice but to put their top engineers, their executives, on the witness stand.
And suddenly, all these details about how the search engine actually works started coming out.
Exactly. How good it is, but also how incredibly complex.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how the testimony, the exhibits, they just dismantled that old idea of Google being one single mysterious algorithm, like one giant brain making all the decisions.
Yeah, that picture's just wrong. What emerged is this highly sophisticated multi-stage pipeline, lots of distinct modular systems.
Each doing a specific job.
Precisely. Less like one brain, more like a highly specialized, interconnected team working together.
And a theme that kept coming up in the testimony was that Google's magic, it's not static, it's not fixed.
No, not at all. It's dynamic, it's learning, it's engaged in this constant two-way dialogue with us, the users.
Every click we make.
Every scroll.
Every search we type after the first one.
It's all a signal. It's teaching the system what people find valuable. It's learning from our behavior, constantly refining itself.
And that feedback loop operates at just, well, an unbelievable scale.
A scale no competitor can really match. But here's the twist, the really surprising part for me.
Yeah.
It's not purely machine-driven, a lot of it isn't.
What do you mean?
Well, Google engineer H.J. Kim actually testified that the vast majority of signals are handcrafted.
Handcrafted.
Yeah.
By engineers.
Yes, and the reason, he said, if anything breaks, Google knows what to fix.
Ah, okay. So it's about control. Transparency for them internally.
Exactly. It lets their engineers diagnose problems, tweak things, modify signals. It ensures there's still a human touch, or at least human oversight, on the system's core logic. Prioritizes control.
Okay, so if it's not one giant algorithm, but this pipeline of modules, some handcrafted, what are these core systems? Where does the ranking process even begin?
It starts with something called topicality, or T.
T-step.
Yep. Revealed as a formal engineered system. Its job is to compute a document's fundamental relevance for a specific query. Think of it as the initial base score.
Okay, the starting point. And how does T figure out that base relevance? What's it looking at?
It uses what they call the ABC signals.
ABC.
Yeah. A is for anchors, the text used in links pointing to a page.
Right, anchor text.
B is for body, the actual content on the page itself.
The words on the page.
And C is for clicks representing that initial user interaction data.
Clicks are in there right at the start.
They are. And Pandu Nayak, Google's VP of Search, he really hammered this home in his testimony. He said, the most basic and in some ways the most important signal is the words on the page and where they occur.
So content is still king, fundamentally.
He basically said the presence of the search terms in the content is actually kind of crucial for that initial ranking calculation by T.
Okay, that ABC structure makes sense. But the C, for clicks, that's interesting. For so long, many of us in SEO believed clicks were, almost taboo. Or at least Google publicly downplayed their role.
They definitely downplayed it.
So if clicks are used right there in T to refine relevance, how does Google stop that becoming a loophole for pure clickbait? Because we all know sometimes the most click stuff isn't the best quality.
That's a really important question, and yeah, it was addressed in the trial. Clicks are used, but mostly for refining relevance and evaluating search quality overall. They're not blindly promoting whatever gets the most clicks.
How do they balance that?
Well, Nayak actually pointed out that page quality tends to be anti-correlated with pure click-through rates sometimes.
Anti-correlated, meaning better pages might get fewer clicks initially.
Exactly. Users might still chase clickbait even if a higher quality result is there. And that's precisely why other signals, particularly those related to authority and trust, are so critical. They help ensure the genuinely high-quality results rise to the top, even if the initial click data isn't perfectly aligned.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Now, this next revelation, for me, this is a huge one. For years, Google just dodged any questions about a site-level quality score. But the trial, it finally blew the lid off Q, right? Q star?
Q, pronounced Q star, a previously secret internal metric, and its job is to assess a website's overall trustworthiness and quality.
Site level, not page level.
Exactly. And what's crucial is that Q is described as largely static and query independent.
Right.
Meaning if your site earns a high Q score, Google sees it as reliable across all topics it covers, not just for one specific search. It's a general measure of the site's credibility.
Wow. And where did this come from?
It actually originated from a page quality team formed way back, maybe 17 years ago. Their initial goal was to combat those early content farms.
Ah, the ones just churning out low-value stuff.
Precisely. So the idea of assessing site-wide quality has deep roots at Google.
So if Q is this big site-level trust score, where does that leave PageRank, Google's original breakthrough? Is it still relevant?
It is, but its role has evolved. PageRank is still an important signal, but now it functions as a key input into calculating Q.
Ah, okay. It feeds into Q.
Yeah. Think of it now as measuring the distance from a known good source. Google has these trusted seed sites, highly authoritative, vetted websites.
Like major news outlets, universities, government sites.
Things like that, yeah. And pages that are closer to these authoritative seeds in the web's link graph get a stronger PageRank score.
And that higher PageRank contributes to a higher Q.
Exactly. It confirms that your overall site reputation, built partly on who links to you, especially links from trusted sources, is incredibly important for earning Google's trust. That's kind of contrary to some past public statements that sometimes seem to downplay link importance.
Right. Okay. So we have T for relevance, Q for site trust, partly fed by PageRank. What about user behavior data? The clicks, the scrolls, you mentioned clicks feed into T, but there's more to it, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. The trial really ended the debate about whether Google uses user behavior data heavily in ranking.
Because for so long, they publicly downplayed it, but everyone suspected.
Everyone suspected, and now we know. The Navboost system was explicitly confirmed as one of the important signals used to refine search results.
Navboost, okay. And what does it do?
Its scale is just immense. It analyzes 13 months of historical user interaction data.
13 months.
Yeah, looking for long-term patterns of user satisfaction. And it's not just counting clicks. It's sophisticated. It distinguishes between good clicks and bad clicks.
Bad clicks, like what?
Like pogo sticking. You know, when you click a result, immediately hit the back button and click something else.
Yeah, we've all done that. Signals you didn't find what you wanted.
Exactly. It signals dissatisfaction. A clear indicator the result wasn't helpful for that query.
So if pogo sticking is bad, then the last longest click must be the gold standard, right? The ultimate signal.
Precisely. That's the metric that identifies the final result a user clicks on in a search session and then dwells on for a significant amount of time.
Wayfeller answer.
Google interprets that as the ultimate signal of a successfully completed search task. Navboost's main job, really, is acting as this powerful filter.
How so?
It takes the tens of thousands of potentially relevant documents identified by earlier systems like T and narrows them down to just a few hundred. Those are then passed on to the final machine learning systems for the very last stage of ranking.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense intuitively. Filter based on what users actually found useful historically. What does that mean for, say, a brand new website?
Yeah.
Or content on a really niche topic with low search volume?
That's a critical limitation of Navboost.
Because it needs historical data.
Exactly. It needs accumulated click data, so it can't really help rank brand new pages or pages in very low volume niches where there just isn't enough historical interaction data to analyze.
So new players are at a disadvantage there.
Definitely. It means new content and new sites have to rely much more heavily on other signals initially, like the core relevance,
Yeah.
and building up that site trustworthiness queue. They need time to accumulate enough user interaction data for Navboost to really kick in. It's a hurdle.
A real challenge for emerging sites. Okay, so Navboost refines based on clicks and user satisfaction. But this whole focus on quality and satisfaction, it's not brand new, is it? It really started to ramp up over a decade ago with an update many of us remember vividly. Panda.
Panda, yes. Launched back in 2011.
What did Panda really set in motion? How does it connect to Q and Navboost today?
Panda was truly the genesis, the beginning of Google's site-wide quality scoring. Its whole purpose was to target those content farms.
Right, the site's just producing shallow, low-value stuff purely for SEO.
Exactly. Panda introduced a site-level quality classifier, and this was key. Poor quality content in one part of your site could suddenly negatively impact the rankings of your entire domain.
The whole site could suffer.
Yes. And by 2016, Panda wasn't a separate filter anymore. It was integrated directly into Google's core algorithm.
So quality assessment became an always-on factor.
Always on. And this is essentially the same foundational concept that feeds into the Q metric we were just discussing. It cemented the idea that overall site quality, not just individual page quality, is absolutely paramount for Google.
Okay, wow. That's a ton of incredible insight just from the antitrust case. But then, earlier this year, 2024, the digital world got hit with another bombshell.
The content warehouse leak.
Yeah, that felt like, I remember reading about it, a stunning vindication for so many SEO professionals who felt like they were operating in the dark.
It really did. March 13th, 2024. It's like Google accidentally left the blueprints out.
What happened exactly?
An automated software bot, just doing its job, inadvertently published thousands of pages of internal Google API documentation onto a public GitHub repository.
Whoops.
Big whoops. Now, it wasn't the actual search engine code,
Right.
but it was the detailed instruction manual. The documentation listing basically every single data point Google collects, every metric it uses to measure things internally related to its content warehouse system.
So like the secret ingredient list.
Exactly. Finally laid bare. Google urged caution, said context was missing, but the SEO community, understandably, saw it as irrefutable confirmation of many theories they'd had for years.
Okay, so break down the 4 great vindications from this leak. What did it finally confirm that Google had, maybe denied or at least downplayed before? Let's start with domain authority, that old chestnut.
Right. The idea of a site-wide score. For years, Google was cagey. But the leak, unequivocal confirmation. There's an internal attribute called site authority.
Site authority.
Which functions like that internal Q-star score we talked about. And it's not just about reputation. It acts as a fundamental gatekeeper.
How so?
The docs suggested that if your site's trust score, this site authority, drops below a certain threshold, say 0.4 was mentioned in some analyses, you're not just ranking poorly for certain things. You are outright disqualified from prominent features like rich results.
Wow. So you could have perfect content, perfect on-page SEO.
But if Google doesn't trust your site overall, based on this score, you might be invisible for some of the most valuable SRP real estate. Your overall site reputation matters immensely.
Okay, vindication number 1. Site authority is real. What about those clicks and Chrome data we discussed with Navboost?
Confirmed again, explicitly. The leak showed documentation for modules like Chrome in total.
Chrome in total.
Yeah, it confirmed Google leverages clickstream data, user interactions within the Chrome browser itself to fuel Navboost.
So they are watching clicks through Chrome.
Seems very likely based on the module names and descriptions. It listed metrics like good clicks, bad clicks, that pogo sticking we mentioned, and crucially, last longest clicks.
The gold standard.
Exactly. That final click where you find your answer and stick around. It confirmed user behavior, likely tracked through Chrome, is a primary active input into ranking refinements.
Vindication 2. Clicks, Chrome, Navboost, all real and interconnected. What about the sandbox, that theory that new websites get held back?
Also vindicated, the documentation revealed an attribute called hostage.
Hostage.
And its description, used to sandbox fresh spam in serving time.
Sandbox fresh spam. Pretty clear.
Couldn't be much clearer. It means new domains are treated with algorithmic suspicion. There's a real probationary period until they prove their credibility and quality. So yeah, don't expect top rankings overnight for a brand new site. The sandbox is real.
Okay, Vindication 3, and the last one, whitelists, manual interventions. The idea that Google sometimes puts its thumb on the scale.
Yep, confirmed too. The leak showed attributes clearly designed for this. For sensitive queries, certain domains get flagged things like A's election authority or is COVID local authority.
So they actively boost official sources for important topics.
Exactly. It shows a clear editorial influence, manual intervention for high-stakes topics to ensure authoritative, verified sources get promoted. They also classify sites like small personal site. So these confirmations really exposed what many suspected was a kind of strategic obfuscation from Google.
Why would they hide this stuff?
Probably to protect the integrity of search results, right? Prevent people from gaming the system with clickbots if they knew exactly how clicks were weighted, or trying to manipulate a public domain authority score if one existed. Makes sense, but the leak brought it out anyway.
Okay, so the trial and the leak together paint this incredibly detailed new picture. What does this all mean for the future of search? We hear so much talk about the zero-click revolution. Big, scary term. Is it a threat? Or is it an opportunity?
It's definitely both. It really depends on who you are and what your business model looks like.
First, let's get the term straight. Zero-click search versus zero-click marketing.
Right. Zero-click search, ZCS, is just the user behavior. Someone searches, gets their answer directly on the Google results page, maybe from a featured snippet, an info box, or now an AI overview, and they never click through to a website.
They got what they needed right there.
Exactly. Zero-click marketing, ZCM, on the other hand, is the strategic response from businesses and marketers. It's about figuring out how to build brand awareness, how to influence users directly on platforms like Google, even if you don't get the click.
Okay, so what's the critics' view? Especially from publishers, it sounds potentially devastating for them.
For many publishers, yes, ZCS feels like an existential threat, like traffic annihilation.
Strong words.
Very. James Rosewell, who's been vocal, put it bluntly. They steal publishers' content to feed their AI model, and then they use this capability to steal traffic by putting the overview ahead of the links.
Ouch, steal.
That's the language being used. Publishers also worry about losing crucial strategic data, those mid-funnel insights you get from seeing what content people engage with on your site that disappears if they never visit.
Yeah, Lily Ray, another prominent SEO, called it potentially devastating for the internet.
She did. It's a huge concern for the publishing ecosystem.
But then you have the proponents, often marketers, who see it differently, as a strategic opportunity. How does that work?
They argue that influence has always been better than traffic. Rand Fishkin made this point. I'd rather influence 10 times as many people than I would draw traffic from a small percentage.
So, get your brand name, your key message, seen in that AI overview or featured snippet, even without a click.
Exactly. Leverage those SRP features to build awareness, become the recognized authority directly on Google's turf. The argument also goes that the traffic you do still get might be higher quality.
How so?
Because the low-intent users, the ones just looking for a quick fact, they get filtered out on the SRP by the direct answer. The ones who do click through might be further down the funnel, more likely to convert.
So potentially fewer clicks, but better clicks.
That's the optimistic view, yeah. Potentially higher conversion rates for the traffic that remains.
And the mechanics driving this are evolving fast. We had featured snippets. People also asked boxes for a while.
Yeah.
But now the big one is AI overviews.
Absolutely. Launched in 2024, powered by Google's Gemini AI models. AI overviews, AIOs, are those AI-generated summaries right at the very top of the results page.
They're hard to miss.
Very. And they dramatically increase zero clicks because they often provide comprehensive conversational answers. Users might feel they don't need to click any further.
And they push all the normal blue links further down the page.
Sometimes way down, out of sight without scrolling. It's a huge change to the SRP layout.
Google's official line, of course, is this is all about enhancing the user experience. Quick, direct answers.
Right. They even claim it leads to more and better clicks eventually, although, as you said, independent data heavily disputes that claim.
And their defense for scraping content to train these AIs.
Basically, fair use.
Yeah.
They argue that using publicly available web content to train an AI model is transformative and therefore not copyright infringement, not stealing.
But wasn't there something in the antitrust documents about giving publishers an opt-out?
Yes. Internal documents reveal Google explicitly considered giving publishers a real way to opt out of having their content used for AI training, but ultimately decided against it. The documents suggested concerns about the impact on search quality if too many high-quality sites opted out. But many in the industry saw this as Google drawing a hard red line, basically forcing publishers into a Hobson's choice. Either be in search and have your content used, or, well, don't be in search.
Not much of a choice. So who's feeling the impact of zero-click the most? Is it hitting all sectors the same way?
Definitely not. It varies hugely. Take small businesses. It can be a real double-edged sword.
How so?
If you're a small business relying on content marketing to draw traffic, yeah, you might see traffic evaporate. But if you're a local service business, a plumber, a dentist, a restaurant,
Yeah.
the power of the local pack is immense. Users see your business listing, your phone number right there on the SRP. They can call you directly.
Without ever visiting your website.
Yeah.
A zero-click conversion.
Exactly. And for many local businesses, that direct call or direction request is far more valuable than a website click ever was.
Okay, interesting. What about e-commerce? Are they shielded because people still need to click to buy?
Less impact on the final transactional queries, yes. But there's significant erosion happening on the informational queries earlier in the funnel. When people are researching products, comparing options, AIOs can answer a lot of those questions now.
So less top-of-funnel traffic for e-commerce sites.
Probably. But again, the traffic that does come through for product pages might convert better because the tire kickers got filtered out by the AI overview.
And then there's the publishers. News sites, blogs, information sites.
For them, it really does look like an existential crisis. SimilarWeb, the analytics company, tracked a massive jump in zero-click searches after AIOs rolled out widely from around 56% to nearly 69%.
Wow, that's a huge leap. Almost 70% of searches not resulting in a click.
It's staggering, and it's why they're fighting back with ongoing legal battles over antitrust issues and copyright. Their fundamental business model, often reliant on ad revenue driven by page views, is being seriously challenged.
This all seems to circle back to that crucial concept we mentioned earlier, trust. You said Google now considers trust the most important member of the EEAT family.
Absolutely. EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, that framework has evolved, and trust is now positioned as paramount.
And a huge part of that trust signal is identity transparency.
Yes. Section 2.5.2 of Google's own quality rater guidelines spells it out. It emphasizes the need for clear identity. Who owns the website? Who operates it? Who is the author of the content?
Why is that so important?
Google calls it quietly powerful. Because if that basic information is missing or hard to find, it creates this domino effect. The site is likely to be judged as untrustworthy across the board, dragging down its perceived expertise and authoritativeness, too. You have to be clear about who is responsible for the content.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And this focus on trust, on site-wide quality, it really aligns with the impact of the Helpful Content Update, the HCCU, which caused so much turmoil.
Yeah, the HCU. Its stated purpose was to reduce search engine-first content stuff written just for algorithms, not for actual human beings.
And it got integrated into the core algorithm.
Fully integrated by March 2024, and its impact was severe for many, particularly smaller publishers and niche content creators. Google engineers themselves reported it caused a 40–45% reduction in the visibility of what they deemed low-quality content.
And recovering from a HCU hit, it sounds incredibly difficult.
It's notoriously tough, a hard road to recovery. Because HCU isn't just a penalty that gets lifted, it's a persistent classifier signal applied to the site. Recovery usually requires fundamental changes to a site's entire approach to content and quality.
What was Google's advice to sites hit hard?
Pretty blunt, honestly. Things like do something else in the meantime or
Hmm.
even move on. They've stated that full recovery from a significant HCU impact is an anomaly.
Wow. Move on. That's grim.
It is, and it led to this feeling of a core contradiction for many affected publishers. They'd make changes, improve content, but see no recovery. Some were even told by Google representatives that their content wasn't the issue, yet the site remained suppressed.
Which suggests the problem was deeper, more fundamental than just the words on the page.
Exactly. It hinted at a problem with the site's overall perceived quality, trustworthiness, or maybe its entire purpose in Google's eyes. It felt like Google was saying, maybe your individual articles are okay, but we don't trust your site as a whole anymore.
And that leads us to Sean Anderson's disconnected entity hypothesis, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to explain that deeper problem.
Precisely. Sean's hypothesis offers a compelling potential explanation. It suggests that websites without a clearly defined, verifiable, and managed entity behind them.
An entity being a person or a company.
Yes, a real-world person or organization that both users and Google can identify and verify.
Well,
Those sites are treated by Google systems as potentially unhealthy, unknown, or spam entities.
regardless of their content quality or backlinks.
That's the core idea. The proposed hierarchy is stark. Entity health status links to relevance.
Whoa. Entity first.
That's the hypothesis. It means even if you have excellent content, relevance, and strong backlinks, historically a huge factor, it might not matter much if Google can't trust the entity behind the website.
Which would explain why some sites seem stuck with an invisible penalty even after improving content.
Exactly. Because the underlying issue isn't the content. It's the lack of a trusted, verifiable entity. Google, according to this Gary, simply doesn't want to send its users to websites where the responsibility for the domain is not clearly defined. It needs to know who stands behind the information.
Okay, so tying this all together, T for relevance, Q and Panda for site trust, Navboost for user satisfaction, the leak confirming site authority, and Chrome data, HCCU penalizing untrusted sites, and this entity hypothesis. It's a complex picture, but it points towards trust and authority being paramount. So for webmasters, website owners listening now, what are the practical steps? What can they actually do to build this vital trust?
Okay, practical steps. First, audit and improve. Be ruthless. Aggressively remove or significantly thicken, add depth and value to any low-quality, shallow, or duplicate content. If it doesn't offer unique value, it's a liability.
Get rid of the thin stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second, focus intensely on EEAT. Ensure you have qualified authors with clear credentials displayed. Double-check factual accuracy. Conduct original research where possible. Cite your sources properly. Show your work.
Demonstrate expertise and trustworthiness.
Third, provide substantial content. Offer truly unique value and depth. Don't just rehash what everyone else is saying. Go deeper. Offer new perspectives. Provide original data.
Stand out.
Fourth, improve user experience. Minimize intrusive ads. Ensure fast load times. Have a clear, intuitive site layout. Make the content engaging and easy to consume. Answer the user's intent clearly and quickly. Remember, Navboost rewards good UX.
Makes sense. Keep users happy.
Fifth, embrace transparency. This links back to the entity idea. Clearly state who you are. Have detailed About Us pages, clear author bios with credentials, easily findable contact information. Don't hide.
Be identifiable and accountable.
Sixth, actively manage your external reputation. Encourage genuine customer reviews on third-party platforms. Seek mentions and links from other reputable, relevant websites. Build credibility beyond your own domain.
Seventh, have patience and consistency. Recovering trust, especially after an HCU hit, is a long game. Focus on consistently making your site objectively better for users over time. No quick fixes.
No quick fixes. And finally, eighth, use Google's own tools. Leverage Google Search Console to monitor technical health, crawl errors, and core web vitals. Pay attention to Google's official documentation and quality guidelines. They're telling you what they value, even if sometimes cryptically.
Okay, that's a solid, actionable list. It really feels like all these revelations, the trial, the leak, they demand more than just tweaking SEO tactics. It's a fundamental reevaluation of digital strategy, isn't it? Breaking down those old silos.
Absolutely. The artificial walls between SEO, brand marketing, UX design, content strategy, they need to dissolve. It all has to work together now, centered around trust and user value.
So strategic imperative number one seems to be, brand is the ultimate ranking factor.
I think that's fair to say. A strong, recognized, trusted brand measured implicitly by things like that site authority score, by how many people search directly for your brand name, by unlinked mentions across the web that's becoming the most durable competitive advantage. It's what users trust, and therefore what Google trusts.
Imperative number 2. User experience is undeniably the new core SEO.
Completely. Optimizing for the user fast load times, clear navigation, engaging content, answering their needs that is optimizing for Google's most important systems like Navboost. Good UX leads to good clicks, long clicks, user satisfaction signals.
And bad UX leads to pogo sticking and negative signals.
Exactly. You can't separate them anymore.
Imperative 3. What about insulating yourself from Google's changes?
Cultivate owned audiences. Build direct relationships through channels you control. Email lists, dedicated social communities, perhaps your own app, channels that are immune to Google's algorithmic whims. Don't rely solely on search traffic.
Diversify your traffic sources. Makes sense.
And 4, embrace the EEAT imperative with gusto. Don't just pay lip service. Publish original research. Feature genuinely expert authors with demonstrable credentials. Actively work to earn external credibility and authoritative mentions. It's foundational.
And finally, given the history of Google's, let's say, strategic obfuscation, what mindset should people adopt?
Imperative 5. Adopt a scientist's mindset. Don't blindly trust Google's public guidance or anyone else's interpretation, including ours. Test hypotheses against your own data. Look beyond just organic traffic. Are you winning more SRP features? Is your brand search volume increasing? Track what matters for your goals.
Be skeptical, test everything.
Right, and think about the broader goal. Maybe it's shifting towards search everywhere optimization. The aim isn't just to rank #1 anymore. It's to be the answer, wherever Google chooses to deliver that answer, whether it's on your site via a click or directly within an AI overview or a featured snippet.
Be the source of truth wherever it appears. Wow. Okay, what an incredible deep dive. We've really peeled back the layers today, haven't we?
We've covered a lot of ground.
Understanding Google's surprisingly handcrafted foundations in some areas, those powerful user feedback loops like Navboost, and the absolutely crucial now confirmed role of site-level trust through Q and Panda's legacy.
And the leaks confirming site authority, Chrome data usage, the sandbox. It really has redefined the rules of engagement.
Well, it's clear the whole digital landscape is undergoing this profound transformation.
It really is.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. This journey from just chasing clicks towards genuinely earning influence, it's not just a strategic shift, is it? It feels like a reevaluation of what value even means in the digital world.
That's a deep thought.
As Google pushes harder and harder to answer everything directly on the search results page, what is the ultimate purpose of your online presence? Is it still just about getting traffic? Or is it maybe about building a brand that's so authoritative, so trustworthy, that it kind of transcends the need for a click?
Building reputation that precedes the click.
Exactly. Think about the lasting impression your brand can make, even if a user never lands on your actual website. What does it mean for the work you do day to day, when Google itself is becoming the ultimate content curator? And how can you make sure your message, your value, still shines through, even in an increasingly clickless world? Something to chew on.